Hello, good evening, everybody. I hope you're all okay. Welcome to Outbox Entrepreneurs Ask, Meet, Understand with Futuremakers by Standard Chartered in London. My name is Charlotte. I'm going to be your host for this evening. Do pop some questions in the chat. I know some of you have been saying hello already. We've also said hello. So hello, Mansai. Hello, CS Prefect. We can see you, and do pop some more hellos and some more comments and questions as the evening goes on. So hopefully we'll last for about an hour. This event will last for about an hour. Hopefully all your questions about Outbox Entrepreneur will be answered. So for those that have already signed up and we're keeping you nice and warm, you may have heard of this already. And for those folks that are joining that want to hear a little bit more about what this could be, hopefully by the end of this session, all your questions will be answered. So we've got Kelly in the background as well. That's moving our slides. Kelly, if we could go to the next slides. And we're going to go through a couple of housekeeping bits and the agenda. So as I mentioned, questions are welcome. Please do pop them in the chat. Please do engage. We've got a mini masterclass. You're going to be meeting an entrepreneur later. So please do engage with the sessions. And please do be kind and respectful with all of your comments as always. So what are we going to be doing this evening? Let's have a look at the agenda. So as I mentioned, we've got hello there. Hello, Rufiat. Hello. So here's the agenda. We've got an introduction, of course, from myself and Standard Chartered. You'll be meeting in a second. You'll be meeting Hind from Standard Chartered. Then we'll have that inspirational talk that I mentioned from Callie. Then we'll have a mini masterclass with Rianne Burrell, who's the founder and CEO of Aspire to Be Futures, and the session is called Create Something from Nothing. And then, of course, everyone will have a chance to ask questions, and then we will close the event. Hopefully that sounds okay. Hopefully you're all excited. It's going to be a fantastic evening. And as you may have noticed, we've got the link there across the bottom of the screen. So at any given point, if you want the link, it is there. You can sign up. That is where you need to go and find out some more information. So let's move on to the next slide. Please, Callie. Thank you. Okay, so let's learn a little bit more about Outbox Entrepreneurs. What is it? Let us see. Okay, so here's a little bit more information. Just to reiterate, it is a program for 18 to 25-year-olds. Here is the link and the QR code. As I mentioned, we'll keep that on the screen as we're talking. The Outbox Entrepreneurs Program is supported by Futuremakers from Standard Chartered. It is a seven-month-long accelerator program focusing on entrepreneurship support for young women and young non-binary people that want to get their STEAM business off the ground. So if that's you, you are in the right place. Okay, so what does it look like? What is it? How long does it last? What does the schedule look like? So here's a little bit about the incubator program. We've got a few of the key dates and the timings as well, so you can jot those down and pop them in your diary. From now, it's a 4-week evening and weekend incubator period, including a launch event and a showcase event where participants will be pitching their business ideas for funding. So that lasts all the way through till September. The next part of the program is where we go into the mentoring. So the mentoring is after the incubator, and this is a chance for you to work closely with your mentor to develop your entrepreneurial ideas. You'll need to commit 90 minutes every 2 weeks for the workshops and mentoring check-ins. So there's a couple of key dates there again from September through till March. So you've got there your launch, your workshops, your meetups, your accountability checks, and then the graduation in the spring. Excellent. And we've got some more hellos coming through. Hi there, Abby. Great to see you. So now we're going to pop Hind on the screen. And who is Hind? Hind is the head of impact and engagement for Europe at Standard Chartered. So there's a little bit of the bio there. So I'll quickly read that out before. Hi, Hind. I can see you. Hello. So Hind joined the bank in 2004 as part of the investor relations team. She has extensive experience in corporate affairs with roles that have covered reputational, risk management, brand and sponsorship, internal communications, and staff engagement. She now leads on impact and engagement for the region, delivering community impact and engagement across 10 markets throughout Europe. Tell us a little bit more, Hind. Hi there.
Hi. I say is the best job at the bank, which is basically I get to spend the bank's money on incredible programs like this. So my job is really around design and delivery of community programs in our markets. And for those who don't know Standard Chartered, we're an international bank. We've been around for 170 years. We're not new. But even though we're head office in the UK, I'm afraid most people won't know us unless they are Liverpool football fans. I'm so sorry for the non-Liverpool fans out there, but that's pretty much what we're known for in the UK. But we're an international bank. We're on the high street in most other countries, just like you'd see a HSBC or a Barclays here in the UK. And what I love about working for an organisation like this is that we're really international, we're really diverse when it comes to ethnicity and nationalities. I think we've got something like, we're in 57 countries across Asia, Africa and the Middle East. And I think we have 131 different nationalities in the organisation. So it's a really diverse company. But we know that, even though we've got that unique diversity, one of the things that we appreciate is the fact that actually sometimes there are barriers to entry for people of different, whether it's gender or ethnicity or income. So we've built a really strong community initiative around how we can unlock the potential of young people from all of our countries, where we can create opportunities for them to learn, earn and grow. And that's all about, how they can gain and sustain a really meaningful income for themselves. Now, obviously, part of that is education and employment and upskilling young people so that they can take advantage of those opportunities, but also entrepreneurship. And that's why we're really proud of Outbox Entrepreneurs. And I think this is the second year that we've done it. With STEMET, and we're just really proud of all the young people that have come through the program so far. The young people in the program inspire us as much as we invest in the program. We always feel like we get a lot out of it, and that's because we're able to use our skills and expertise, but also learn from their innovation and their creativity and their passion, actually, and just what I've found over that time is, we're a bank, we have skills as an employer, we have a lot of subject matter experts in the organisation, but seeing young people come in with very limited knowledge of how to start a business, how to develop a business, go through the programme and come out with such exceptional and innovative ideas, it teaches us a lot about resilience and learning and capabilities and potential as well. So I said I'd keep it short. So one thing I will say is, no matter where you are in your entrepreneurship journey, this is an incredible program. You'll meet some amazing people on the program, and we're really proud and proud of the program, but also proud of the young people that come through it. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of Outbox this year. I think it's going to be a great year for us all.
Agreed. Super excited. Thank you so much. And hopefully everyone is a little bit more versed on who Standard Chartered are. So thank you very much. Let's move on to the next slide, please, there, Callie. And Callie, we are going to be heading over to the next slide. There we go. So, of course, this is all about entrepreneurship. What a better time than to meet an entrepreneur? So, Callie, as I've been saying in the background, is an entrepreneur. So, who is Callie? Let's move on to the next slide. Hello.
Hello, Charlotte.
Hello. Let's pop on to the next slide. So a bit about Callie before I hand over. So Callie is a research consultant. In 2015, Outbox Incubator alumni, in which she created the app Holla. She worked with Google, MP Stella Creasy, the Metropolitan Police, and Grazia. She studied a BSc in Anthropology, and a Master's in Gender, Society, and Representation at UCL. Tell us about your journey.
Yeah, so I was on the original Outbox program back in 2015. I met Anne-Marie and Stemettes at a outreach program in my school. I wasn't really sure that I wanted to kind of go into like entrepreneurship. I just found Stemettes super interesting, and I didn't actually kind of really get involved in entrepreneurship until I was in the program, which is a little bit different to what it is now. But it was just a fantastic program. I never thought that I could be capable of creating an app and presenting in front of quite established businesses and partners. I took my app to a competition with STEMets up in Birmingham. And yeah, like the slide said, we worked with Google when I was on some Google panels. I then got featured in Grazia for the app that I ran. And yeah, I did some work with Stella Creasy, the MP for Walthamstow, which was just fantastic. My app focused around combating harassment in the street. So it was trying to provide an easier platform to record evidence to ensure that getting it through court is easier for the victims. And I was just I had no kind of restrictions in STEMets. Like, it was everything that I kind of brought to the table was like, yeah, you can do this. Someone can help you. Like, if someone on the STEMets team can't, we know a partner that can help you. I know someone that knows someone. Like, there was like an absolute breadth of network that I had access to that I'd never previously had access to, and just unlimited tools. Like, if I needed some help with public speaking, I could approach someone. If I needed coding help, I could approach someone. If there was no ask was too big for the Outbox program, which was just incredible. I don't know where else I could have established my own company and business and app and learned such incredible transferable skills as well, because I then went on to do a BSc, which isn't kind of the typical route from something quite computer sciencey to do, but it was still a STEM subject. And there was just so much that I learned in my time at OE and my time after, which I still I'd pull into my everyday life now. So many public speaking skills, networking skills, which I'd never really learnt before because I didn't really need to network before. So I learned all of these new skills that were completely transferable through my academia, through trying to get work experience, intern, and now get a job. And yeah, it was just great. Such an amazing experience.
Amazing. And Hin touched upon there on the fact that there will be different topics and workshops, and they have, a really great network of experts almost.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us about some of the experts that helped you, maybe, and maybe some of the skills. Again, you've touched upon some of the skills that you learned, but the experts that you met.
We met so many. We worked quite closely with Sue Black, who was amazing. And then we worked with some amazing people from Goldman Sachs, some people from, I think it was Etsy. There was
and the skills, more so like the skills as well that you learn. I remember there were kind of marketing and finance workshops and things like that.
Yeah, we had I'd never had any kind of finance experience at all, and marketing. So to be able to be sat down with people that were in the kind of the same boat as me, people who did have some experience, but being able to tell completely transferable workshops that this is how you market yourself first, your business, your unique selling points. There was just countless things that we were being taught that were were amazing for what we were doing at the time, but I've continued to use in job interviews, in networking events, in work events at university, so many times that I've pulled back on those skills, despite them being for marketing an app, but I've still been able to use them in different ways. It was just anything you needed, even if there wasn't a workshop on it, you could have someone, because of the mentor schemes as well, they would be able to help you with that. And yeah, it's the same with the Standard Chartered stuff that kind of this year's program are offering. If something isn't kind of really touched upon, you're going to have that mentor, you're going to have that one-on-one person that's there for a reason for you to ask all these questions too. So if you feel like there's something you're really burning to know, or that maybe you want to know a bit more about that was touched on in one of the workshops, you have that person there for your disposal to really benefit you. And yeah, it's just a completely fantastic program. And if you're not signed up for it and you kind of really have that drive for entrepreneurship, or have a business idea that you've been sat on for a while and you aren't sure, just go for it. That's what I did. And it's so cringy, but never look back. It was one of the best times. I met the most amazing people my age and peers, but also networking and mentors that I've still kept in contact now, 8 years later. It's such a great program.
Amazing. Thank you, Callie. And I've got a list here. We've got an idea of some of the sessions actually that Standard Chartered will be providing. We've got strategy and goal setting, business model canvas, resilience and confidence, investment readiness, pitching, customer acquisition, marketing, accounting, branding, legal, design thinking, negotiation, and leadership. So I know, again, you touched upon some of those, but I mean, yeah, such fantastic sessions that are going to be being offered on this program. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm very jealous. I wish I could do it again because it was just so great.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Callie. If anyone's got any questions for Callie, please do pop them in the chat. She'll be with us all evening. So thank you so much, Callie, for sharing your entrepreneurial journey.
No worries. Thank you for having me, Charlotte.
Thank you. So let's pop the slides back on there, Callie. So that was Callie's journey. Hopefully that was exciting. That got you all excited about what your journey could look like. But now it's time for a mini masterclass. So we're going to pop Rianne in now for the mini masterclass. Hello there, Rianne. How are you?
Lovely to meet you all. Hi.
Excellent. So I've got a bit of a bio to introduce you, and then I will hand straight over to you. So Rianne Burrell is the founder and CEO of Aspire to Be Futures. Rianne is a scientist by background with a PhD in volcanoes. She has traveled and worked on projects all over the world for large multinational organizations. More recently, Rianne has co-founded a number of companies in the technology space, including cloud computing and blockchain gaming. Outside of work, she loves being creative and playing football. Amazing. Nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too, Charlotte.
Excellent. So let's move on to your bit now, onto the masterclass. Please do go for it.
Brilliant. So this is the masterclass all on how to create something from nothing. So if I can have the first slide, that would be amazing. Thank you. Yeah, so this masterclass is all around how to create something from nothing. So being an entrepreneur, it's like you start off with nothing. You start off with just an idea. And from that, you can kind of turn that idea into an amazing company. And so hopefully by the end of this session, you'll feel more inspired, more empowered, and hopefully more equipped to maybe create something from nothing yourself. Next slide. Okay, so I'm going to start this mini masterclass with a question. What is it that annoys or frustrates you? I'm just going to give you a minute to think about that. So think about some of the things that everyone's got things that annoy or frustrate them. I think for me, one of the things that drives me crazy is every time I go on holiday, my bank seems to decide that my card must have been stolen because I'm not doing the things in the usual place, and they freeze my account. And so then when I'm stuck on holiday and my bank's not, my cards aren't working, and that just drives me absolutely crazy. And maybe it's time to change bank. But that's one of the things that really annoys me. Another one is, what else annoys me? Wasps. Wasps drive me crazy. I love being outdoors. I love eating outdoors, just spending time outdoors. But it gets to August and you're trying to have a picnic. There's wasps everywhere. The kids are freaking out. And it's just something that's just, they drive me crazy. So have a think about what it is that annoys you, that frustrates you. Next slide. Because all these frustrations that you have are problems that are just waiting to be solved. And that's what entrepreneurship is all about, it's about finding problems out there and solving them and coming up with creative solutions to address some of these issues. Now, you only need to look at the news and see all there's so many challenges in the world. And so I think, and this is what I'm so passionate about STEAM and STEM. And actually, a lot of these challenges that we face at the minute could be solved with STEAM solutions. And so that's kind of what I want to talk about today. And the thing that you need to begin with is just that idea. And everyone's got these creative ideas inside of them. It was only this morning I was in a local primary school and talking to 5 to 7-year-olds about being an entrepreneur. And I gave them this challenge of what ideas do you have to make school even more fun? And they came up with the most incredible ideas. They had no constraints and they just came up with so many amazing things. I had this big roll of paper out and thinking, well, that will keep them all busy. And I just had to add paper after paper after paper as they drew all these different ideas of things that they'd love to see at school to make it even more fun for them. And so it just kind of reminded me that everyone's got these ideas inside them and you just need to unlock them. But the thing is, it's like going out there and being an entrepreneur and putting yourself out there and putting your ideas out there. It can be really scary, right? It's one of those things where it's like, but it's just me. I don't know. And I've certainly felt that way going, well, who am I to kind of come up with this solution? I've never done this before, and it can feel really daunting and scary. But if you can do it, go on to the next slide. It is the most amazing feeling to have actually had an idea that has come out of your head, that you've put out there into the world as a solution, that's now helping people, that's making the world a better place because of your idea, and what you've done is absolutely amazing. And so that's what I want to share with you today, is that I just absolutely love being an entrepreneur, and I'd love to encourage as many people as possible to do it. So as you might have guessed, and as you've touched on from the bio, I've been an entrepreneur for a number of companies. So if you go on to the next slide, just before I go into some of the kind of things I want to talk about in terms of creating something from nothing, give you a little bit more about me. So as I mentioned in the bio, I'm a scientist by background. I've got a PhD in volcanoes, which is, a super useful life skill to have. But I just love studying. I love learning about different things. I worked for a number of multinational companies, traveling the world as a scientist. And then I went into leadership roles and things. And then in 2016, I decided with 3 other people, we decided to kind of take that leap and set up our own company. And so we set up a company using cloud technology to handle big data. So it's all around ingesting, hosting, and visualizing big data. And we started, from nothing, from just that idea. And within 4 years, we were hosting the UK government national data repository for subsurface data. So it really is possible. I've been there, I've done that. You can kind of create something from nothing. And since then, I've kind of worked for behavioral psychology. I've done blockchain gaming, and the most recent one, Aspire to Be, which is a social enterprise of mine, which is very close to my heart. So if we go on to the next slide. So what I want to talk today is I wanted to address 3 things that I kind of hear a lot about people that are maybe thinking about being an entrepreneur but aren't really sure. And so I kind of wanted to debunk a few of those myths. So the first one is, well, I've got an idea. I'd quite like to do it, but I can't afford to do it. I can't afford to set up my own business. Any money that I have, I want to save for a deposit on a house. I need to pay my rent, buy my food, just go out. It's I don't have the money to do this. If we go on to the next slide. Okay, but one thing that I'm hugely passionate about is bootstrapping. So this is where you don't get investors, because actually, if you get investors, in one sense, it's great, but it does constrain your freedom, because suddenly there's someone else that also has a say in how you want to run your business. And the alternative way from getting investment is to kind of bootstrap your company and do it as cheaply as possible. And this is what I've done for a number of the companies. And I'm hugely, hugely passionate about it. And there's so many ways, there's so many free resources out there. So I just want to touch on a few this evening and things that worked for me. So I think the first thing to point out is you don't need an office. People think they need to spend thousands of pounds every month on an office to make them feel like it's a real business. But actually, ever since COVID, remote working, hybrid working, that's the norm now. So if you go to the next slide, you can work from home. If you have a plain background, you could be anywhere. And if you need to have a meeting, hire a room for an hour or go and meet in a coffee shop, or even better, take them for a walk, do something different. You don't feel like you need to spend all this money on offices and making it look like a real company, because in this day and age, you really, really don't. And one of the other things that's out there is there are so many free resources out there. There is not a better time to be an entrepreneur. And these are a few of the ones that I've done. So W3 Schools was brilliant. I use that a lot for coding. That was one of for creating your own website. Please, please, please do not spend thousands of pounds getting someone to design a website for you. Hopefully you're all passionate about STEM and have been doing websites anyway. But there's so many things out there that can help you create the exact website that you want. And you can learn as you go. And that's part of the fun. Being an entrepreneur, there are so many different skills that you get to try out and learn as you go along. So W3 Schools, I thought, was a brilliant one for coding. But there's so many free coding things out there in all kinds of different languages. So if you want to learn to code or you need that for it, definitely have a look out there. The other thing that I could not have done my businesses without, which I definitely, if you're not aware of it, then do have a look, is Canva. It's the most amazing it's free. And it's brilliant for anything visual that you're trying to create. So I use it for all my social media. I use it to create videos. I use it for presentations. If I want to create a really professional looking proposal, I've used it. They have free photographs and videos that you can use. It really is an amazing resource to have. And I'm sure there's other oones out there. I'm not sponsored by Canva, I promise you. But it's just, I'm sharing with you the ones that I found that work. And the other thing is, you don't need marketing to please, you've got social media out there now. You don't need to pay for advertising to get your business going. The secret is to find the channels that work for your customers, that they're the ones that they use, and promote on those channels, because that's all you need to do to get going. And also, if you happen to be in doing something in a technology space, then using Amazon Web Services, Google, Microsoft, they all have lots of free credits. They're keen for you to explore and start building your business on their platform. So there's loads of free stuff out there. So yeah, go and explore and Google. Next slide. The one thing that entrepreneurship is going to cost you, though, is your time. There is no escaping that. If you are setting up a business on your own, if you're not working on it, then nothing's happening on your business. And that's the one thing that it will cost you, is your time. But the thing is that if you're doing, and I get that, like you're kind of saying, well, I can't afford to not work for a year. I need, I still need to pay my rent and feed myself and things. So, but if you spend some time in the evenings or in weekends doing it, that's great. And you're saying, well, maybe I don't want to work in the evenings. I've worked all day. The last thing I want to do is come home and work. Well, actually, if we have the next slide, if you do something that you love, it doesn't feel like work at all. So do it on the side, get it in that evening, or on the weekend. I'm such a sucker for getting up on a Sunday morning. Because if you do something that you love, on the next slide, so it genuinely doesn't feel like work, because you're passionate about what you're doing and you care. And so that's a key thing. So find something that you love, find something that you care about, and it's actually energizing. So at the end of a long day, when you come home from work, to do something on a project that you love that's making a positive difference in the world can be really energizing as well. And over time, you can build up your business, and that will then give you the confidence to maybe go part-time in your job, or to move over to your new business full-time in itself. But it's like that stepping stone, that side hustle, that kind of makes it feel like a less scary step. So the second thing I hear a lot is like, well, I've never done it before. I don't really know how to do it. But the thing is, there's so many things in your life that you learned how to do that you didn't know, whether that's learning to walk, learning to talk, learning to ride a bike. There's so many things that you've done already that were way harder than starting a business. So please don't let that put you off. Next slide. And the secret to all of it is asking for help. Yeah, that is the key. If you don't know what you're doing, you haven't done it before, There is so much help and support out there for you. You just need to access it. Next slide. So it's interesting. I know they mentioned that on the Outbox program, they do something on the business model canvas. So Strategize is a great website. Again, it's free resources. There are so many free things out there. You really don't need to pay for these things. But there's business model canvas, there's value proposition canvas. And these are amazing tools for getting you to start thinking about your business, thinking about the different elements that you need to think about, whether it's customers, the needs, the wants, the marketing, all those things are in there. And there's loads of different resources out there. And beyond websites, there's webinars, there's podcasts, there's videos, there's blogs. There are so much information. Whatever you think, I want to, I'm really not sure about how I create my brand, how I make sure that it represents what I'm trying to do. Just Google it. Google is your absolute friend with all of this. And there's so much information out there. And then also you've got the good old fashioned library. There are some brilliant books as well, and your library is free. So go to your local library and have a look for all the books that are in there as well. Next slide. But I think one of the most valuable things that I've had is the programs and the mentorship, because then you're talking to people who've been there and done it. You're talking to people that have got all the bumps and bruises from trying this, and you can learn from them. So the bits I've heard of the Outbox program, it sounds absolutely incredible. Being able to access all these experts, ask questions, and the networks that gives you is hugely important. And it's the same with mentoring. I've always had a mentor throughout my career, at least one. I can be greedy and have more than one. But I've done numerous, I'm currently on a mentorship program. I've been an entrepreneur for 7 years now, but I'm still on programs. I still get mentored because you can always learn. You can always get more out of it. So do reach out and, use programs like the Outbox program. Reach out to entrepreneurs that you admire and just ask them for help, because most often people are really willing to help you. Feel free to reach out to me if you want. There's so many people out there that are willing to help and that can give you advice on it. So never feel like you're alone, and believe in yourself with this one. And the third and final thing, and I think this is the hardest one, is what if I fail? I'm putting myself out there into the world with my ideas and my solutions. What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? I'm going to look really stupid. This is really embarrassing. This is my career. What's everyone going to think of me? And yeah, that's kind of, I have that feeling. I still have that feeling every time I put a social media post out there. It's not my favorite thing to do. I hold my breath. It's, but you know what? Next slide. The thing about, it feels horrible. I hate it. It's that fear of failure and that fear of getting it wrong. But next slide again. The thing is with failure, it's where you learn. And as an entrepreneur, you need to learn to celebrate failure, because actually that's where you learn the most things. When it's going well, you're not actually learning that much. But when you're failing, that's when you can really learn some lessons. You can learn how to improve your product, how to get better. So when you hit failure, which you will, because being an entrepreneur is a real roller coaster, but when you hit failure, celebrate it, learn from it, dust yourself off and go again. And that's the thing. And the secret with failure is that you want to fail early on, which I know sounds really counterintuitive, but you want to learn what's working and what isn't really quickly. So please do not spend 3 years perfecting and polishing and making this product that you think is perfect, that's all shiny and looks amazing, only to find out that your customer is not what they want. And you've spent all that time on something that's not what they want. So instead, Yeah. So this is one of the things that this is the top piece of advice that I've never had. And we had this in the first company that we set up. When the mentor at the time, he said, get yourself a paid pilot. You know, get your product to the absolute minimum it can be that it's kind of working, and do a paid pilot with a potential customer. And I was like, what? You know, but it's not ready. It's not finished. It doesn't look polished. They're going to think that we don't know what we're doing here. But the thing is that by engaging a customer really early, they get to help shape the product. They get all their desires and their challenges that they've got. The solution is built into the product, and they then become these early champions. And so actually, by doing this and getting it really early, you get amazing feedback, but also you get paid. So suddenly, within the first year, we were turning over, tens of thousands of pounds because we were doing this paid pilot. Next slide. And that's kind of how you build a product. It's about iterating. So every time you put it out to customers, you'll get feedback, you'll get tweaks. Sometimes you get major changes. But if you keep going and going and putting it back out there and iterating through, then actually by the end of it, you will have a really amazing product and a really successful business. So I'm going to finish with a couple of key takeaways. So I've got 3 things that I want to just kind of, if you take nothing away from this talk, take these 3 things. Next slide. So the first one is be brave and go for it, because all it's going to say, there's so many free resources out there. All it's going to cost you is your time. So what have you got to lose? Yeah, give it a go and see where it takes you. Second one is, as I've mentioned, there is so much support out there. And I've only touched on a few of the things that have kind of helped me along the way. But there is so much amazing support out there for you, like things like this Outbox program. Use it, use the expertise, use the advice, use the networks, use the resources, and you will end up with an amazing product. And the final thing, it is such a privilege to be an entrepreneur. It is the most incredible thing to take your ideas and to know that you are helping people, that you are helping to make a difference in the world. So I'm going to leave you with, just go out there and do something great.
Amazing, Rianne, that was so inspiring. I really, 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 really enjoyed that. I think folks agree in the chat that we had some questions come through, but thank you so much. I feel inspired.
Oh,
journey. Honestly, that was really, really, really inspiring. We had a couple of questions, and we can drop Hind in as well in case any of these questions are for Hind as well. But there we go. Hi, Hind. Then we had a couple of people just saying we love Canva. So we had someone saying we love Canva, which is great. Fatima just had a quick question on W3, whether it was to create your own business. I believe W3 is coding, isn't it?
It's coding. So it has, so we used it for HTML and so to kind of generate websites to that, but it's got loads of different coding things. And it's a real, it's a real step-by-step, has lots of examples as you go. So that was kind of one of the things that introduced me to a lot. It's got JavaScript, it's got Python, it's got, it's brilliant, but you can use it to build websites. And all kinds of other things. So I say there's loads of resources out there. It's just the ones that I've found useful as I've gone through the years. So
W3 is super helpful. We use that as well at our events.
Oh, okay, brilliant. Yeah,
so helpful. So I completely agree. And I think Fatima then says, what would be a HTML technology option? And maybe Hind, you can answer that. And how do folks use HTML at Standard Chartered? I'm sure they do.
I mean, to be honest, it's such a coding technology, it's everywhere. There are roles in STEM in every industry. So it could be it could be the traditional coding, programming, etc., banking products and services, the back end stuff, the front end stuff. But actually, I think you'll find that in any industry, STEM is front and center, and technology specifically is driving so much innovation in all these different industries, even traditional industries like financial services, that there's so much that you can actually contribute to. And the great thing about coding and technology is that even though, you know, it may be language like HTML, but you could be so creative with it as well. So it's a real ability to bring in sort of the structure of coding and language with the creativity of how you're going to approach a problem. And actually the problem solving skill is really the key element, right? It's about how do you create something. And I love Jan's point about, you know, finding a need and addressing the specific need, because it could be anything. And the ability to find a solution that works for people and that actually delivers a solution that makes other people's life easier. We can apply that skill, even though it could be, you might have the skills in HTML and tech, you can apply that to any industry. Problem solving is a key skill for the future of work. So it's definitely something that you should have under your belt.
Completely agree. Thank you so much. And we've got one final question in the time that we have left from Rufiat. And the question is, what sort of books, podcasts, and resources would you recommend? Of course, Rianne, you gave some fantastic resources. In addition to those resources, are there any other things, books, podcasts you'd recommend?
Oh, I don't know. I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to this stuff. I love learning new things. So, there's loads of different ones. The book that I'm reading at the minute is a book called Magic Words. And it's the power of words and how that kind of changes how people think about things. So it's kind of, if you're doing, you know, as part of your business, you know, you need to persuade people, you need to kind of sell your idea through social media and things, you know, and it's just fascinating. It's kind of the science behind language. And so that I'm really enjoying that at the minute, just the concept of like, rather than asking children to help, if you ask them to be a helper, you get 30% more uptake in children helping. It's things like that. It's kind of, I mean, it's quite nerdy, but that's the book that I'm reading at the minute. But there are so many books out there. I think it's just kind of, having a look and seeing which bit it is that you want to kind of focus on.
Definitely. And Hind, that I've made a note of that, actually. That sounds really interesting. And Hind, actually, was there anything from your side, any particular podcasts or books from your side?
I can tell you, if you're not following the STEMettes Instagram, then definitely do that, because there are some really inspirational speakers on there that open up worlds that you never even thought were available. And some of the conversations, even the historic conversations and the sort of the videos that are on there, I'd say that is a great source for inspiration from people as well as industries. I think the other thing, it's just kind of looking at who's in your circle. There might be some really inspirational people that are doing things. I've seen young people get very innovative and creative in how they're earning income from, you know, repurposing things like trainers, you know, upcycling trainers and selling those on. And I take a lot of inspiration from people that I interact with day to day. And where I don't have that in my network, it is really about social media, finding out who's kind of leading the conversations on social media. But I always try to get different voices as well in there. So there's obviously the traditional books around entrepreneurship and starting a business, but there are some great voices that are coming up that are doing things very differently. So who's doing stuff that's unique and new to the market as well?
Amazing. Thank you so much for that advice. I've taken notes. I think folks in the chat there have been taking notes. We've got lots of thank you messages as well coming through. So a huge thank you from Team STEMette as well. Really excited to get going on this program. Hopefully we've got some more new folks that are really excited to become entrepreneurs. We've seen and met a real entrepreneur twice over in this session. So yeah, really, really excited to see what is going to happen after this. So final call to action. Of course, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, panelists. Thank you to those that are joining online. Please do make sure if you would like to add us on social media, as Hind mentioned there, you can tag us there and hashtag Futuremakers STEMette in your social posts. And if you're not already part of the STEMette Society, do join, because again, that is another resource that we offer for free that you can kind of meet like-minded individuals and hear about all of these exciting upcoming events that are happening in the STEM and STEAM world. So that's it. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully see you all soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.